Hi, I'm here for a good cause, and that is help y'all not lose any more plants. I lost 6 plants in 2 months. Hi, I'm Sai, and I'm here to discuss 10 things which I knew before I got into houseplants. And if I knew, probably I would be have killed so many. Okay, so the first point here we're going to talk about is survey your home. And a very good example for that would be even if you're calling somebody home for dinner, won't you look around, check your home? Will it be comfortable for the number of people coming in? Those kind of things. So here you're going to get house plants that are going to live with you for a long period of time. So you have to check if your house is going to be comfortable for those kind of plants that you're getting. So you need to look at two things. The first thing is the light conditions. By light conditions, I don't mean how many tube lights or bulbs you have in your house. It means the natural sunlight that is coming into your home. Why? Didn't we learn in school? Plants use sunlight, photosynthesis for the food. Yes, that's the basic principle. Now, if somebody tells you about plants that don't need light, excuse me, there's nothing like that. Although there are plants that can survive in low light, but they do need sunlight. Okay, chances are if you're living in a garage or in a dungeon where there is no scope for natural light, do not worry. You can buy grow lights. Grow lights are the ones which imitate the natural sunlight and help the plant grow. Okay, now coming to the second point when you're surveying your house is the humidity. Now, in tropical countries, it's not an issue. Like in India, I don't think it would have been an issue, but now I'm in Switzerland, and for 6 months of the year, the heaters are on in the house. So, chances are the humidity is very low, which is not good for plants, especially the tropical ones. Now, that is exactly what happened. I got the peace lily and the Boston fern, which need a lot of humidity. And I just kept thinking, what is wrong with them? I kept pouring more water, but they don't need water in the soil. Humidity is something which is in the air. So, the only thing that you can do to increase the humidity is get a humidifier. Although people do talk about other ways of increasing humidity, which didn't work for me, is the pebble trays. You keep a tray of water near these plants and hoping the water evaporates slowly through that, increasing the humidity. But you may try, it didn't work for me. I had to get a humidifier and then I dared to get the same plants again and check. Okay, the second point. Same as it would go for even if you want to get a pet home, how much time do you have to give to the plants? Because plants are living things and they demand your attention. Some might demand more, some might be better off being left alone. Okay, so please first think for yourself how much time are you going to invest on these plants and accordingly pick the plants. Like if you pick a plant which is like a peace lily which needs to be, ensure you water it when it needs the humidifier, it might not work for you if you don't have that kind of a time. On the contrary, if you pick up a plant like snake plant, you can just water them once and forget them for 2 weeks. They are happy. So look at yourself. How much time do you have for these plants? Third point, what time of the year are you getting these plants home? Well, yes, it's very, very important, especially when you're living in countries like Switzerland. It's a cold country. If you feel like getting the plants in the winter or autumn season, you are putting them through some kind of danger. And you'll say, how? Simple. You step out in autumn or winter, don't you wear a jacket? And if it's still cold, you wear gloves. And furthermore, you need to cover your ears. Same applies for plants. They are in a greenhouse, they are in a certain environment that they have been grown. You want to bring that plant from that shop to your house. You have to ensure you're covering them well with plastic, paper, during the transition period from that place to your house. If you are unable to do that, please do not get these plants in this season. The ideal time to get these plants would be spring or summer, because the outside climate is ideal for them and you do not have to worry that they'll go through any kind of damage during the transportation. This is especially true even when you're ordering online. I will not suggest you get these plants during winter or autumn. In my case, I didn't know this, and we got a huge weeping fig tree, and we just got it when the temperatures were just 3 degrees. It was so huge we couldn't even wrap it. We just quickly put it in the car and got it, and it did show signs of the winter shock. How it dropped down nearly 80% of its leaves, but no issues. Now it's coming back to life, but you need to take care if you don't want to really go through this trauma of losing a plant for the temperature that is there outside. Okay, the fourth point, which are the best starter plants? Yes, you have surveyed your home, you know how much time you can give to the plants, and it is spring and summer. Now you have to choose your plants. Ideally, I would say these five that I'm mentioning now are a very good starter plants for the reasons they don't need too much care, they're not too fussy, they are okay with the light and humidity conditions. Okay, the first one would be the snake plant. If you have little space and you want something huge to give like a statement to that area, okay, and these grow straight up, so you don't need too much of a roundabout space for these. So these are ideal. You get in different varieties also, so you can choose which one you want. You can also choose the size of the snake plant that you want. They're not very fussy when it comes to watering. You can just water it once and forget it for 2 weeks. Maybe in summer, since the soil dries up quicker, you need to water it maybe once a week. Do not over water. Okay, coming to the second plant is the ZZ. I like this plant. Again, it is very fuss free plant and the leaves are nice and glossy. Sometimes they may even feel they are plastic, but they're real. And the best part is, yes, you don't have to water them too frequently. Just let them stay in one place. They're also good in the low light areas of your house, maybe in a bathroom also, to add that green factor in that area. The third one I would suggest is pothos, the creeper plant. You have different, you have the neo, you have the golden pothos, you have the enjoy. Like here I have the enjoy, which has these color variations. Now these are creeper plants. You can either hang them and they just hang down. They grow well, they grow quick, and they're not very demanding when it comes to sunlight. But water, yes, not much, but you need to keep a check maybe once a week. They would need, depending on the size of the plant. Okay, that was pothos. Let's go on to the next one. The next one I would suggest is the Monstera minima. Okay, I'm not talking about the big Monstera because yes, you take them some time to get into that plant because it has really huge leaves. These are small, cute ones with a variation in their leaf structure. They also creeper plants and they grow very quickly, not very demanding. So if you want to have a plant that you want to decorate your wall, you want something to creep up, or you have a bookshelf and you want something to fall down, you can use this plant. Now coming to the final one, I would say is the Chinese money plant or the Pilea. Now why I like this plant is this. Yes, it just grows and it keeps giving small babies all around, not at all fussy. Just give water when it needs, and voila, you have a beautiful cute disc life leaf plants. There are many other starter plants also that you can check, which I suggest is the Dracaena family, because they are again not very demanding. They are the drought resistant plants. You just keep them. You can choose the size you want. There are different varieties in it, And the best part is you have a decor piece in one corner of your house and you don't have to really worry and fuss about it. So these were my suggestions. I've given you one more than what I told you. I hope you make the right choice and enjoy the plant. Okay, and coming to the next point, where do I buy these plants? Yes. Now the thing is, it is a living thing. You see a picture online, suppose we're looking at online sites, you will see a picture, not necessarily it would be the same. So it's my personal suggestion, physically go to a shop and pick up this plant. Why? Because firstly you can actually speak to the people there, okay, and you can even get some suggestions of plant care, etc. You can get suggestion on the other things that you need to buy along with the plant, which I will talk in the later point. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is you can actually see the plant. Okay, that makes a lot of difference. So if you really don't have a choice and you want to buy online, please don't keep your starter plants being bought online. Maybe if your friend is suggesting it, well and good, but still go physically and pick up those plants. The other thing, if you're getting plants online, do check them once you receive them. If not, you'll have to make the decision of sending them back. I really don't know how it works. I have never bought plants online. There are other different avenues that have come up. Maybe you can take it from your friend or you buy online through marketplace. These could be a little risky. You don't know the history, especially in marketplace. But yes, if you know the person, you know, you have the confidence, you can get it home. So go to stores, individual plant stores, and not in stores where they just have one small corner where they're selling plants. Do not go to such stores. Go to maybe big shops where they have a dedicated section for plants. They've been taken care of there well. Okay, and now while you're purchasing these plants there, you need to also make sure that how the plant is, how the condition of the plant is, which I will talk about in the next point. So here you know which shop you need to buy. You could go to something that's close to your home or nearly somewhere is far out, but you know it's a good place. Like I buy all my plants from Onba in Swiss. Okay, coming to the sixth point, you have chosen the shop, you go to the shop. Now how do you pick up a plant? You know the name of the plant and you will tell the shop person that I want Pothos Enjoy. Okay, now this is Pothos Enjoy. He will give you the plant. What you have to do here is, please note, check all the plants how they are. They are not having any kind of discoloration. They are not having any brown spots, an unusual black color. Like see, this one is having. Probably this could be because of overwatering. I need to check what is happening. And the other thing that you have to see is there are no insects crawling around them. Even check the back side of the leaves, especially if the leaves are very huge. Okay, and look at the soil. Is anything creeping around? Are there like some insects or anything? You need to check that. And the other thing that you can do is, let me see if I can show in this. You can even check the roots. Now you have this plant and I'm going to create a mess, but I just watered it today. Yeah, you can see the roots. What is happening down below shows how healthy your plant is. I'm not saying that, you know, you could be cheated or something, but sometimes people just pop in a new, plant without a good root system and then they just are selling. So if you see what is inside, you will know, yes, it's been a well-grown plant. It has a good root system. The roots should not be dried out. There should not be anything crawling over the roots. The roots should not be mushy or brown. So if you check inside out, you know you're getting a good plant home. Because you're getting it home, you need to ensure it is in the right state. Okay. Now, let's go back to this and I'll show you what is the next step. That is the repotting. It's a very common thing that when you get this plant, probably you will feel, oh, this pot is very small for it. I need to put it in a big pot. That's exactly what I thought. I put a plant in a huge pot, a really huge pot, and it just died. You know why? I'll tell you. Now, I just removed this. It has roots. Cool? Okay. Now, if I'm going to give it more soil, what are the roots going to do is they're going to spread themselves in the soil. I'll just leave the soil for now. Just okay. When you have plants, soil is a part of your life. Okay. So what the roots think is, oh my God, we've got more area to work on here. So they want to spread down. Now all the activity starts going down. Chances are the activity up on the leaves will stop. Okay. This is what happened to my umbrella plant. That is the one. I will give you a close up later on. Probably I can do it now. All the activity stopped. You can see this is the new activity that I had to somehow cut it off and make the next nodes below start sprouting, because it just stopped growing from up. Why? Because it started developing the roots below, and when it develops roots below, what happens is all the activity on top just stops. Your plant just stops growing. Second thing, what happens is when you will water it, there is so much of soil and the soil holds the water. Now the roots don't need so much of water. So what happens is the roots keep sitting on so much of water that they start rotting. And that's what happened to my pothos. I kept watering it. The leaves, you look at the leaves, they start drooping. The biggest point is overwatering, underwatering, which is my next point. The way the leaves react are quite similar. Okay, I'm just checking on what is wrong with my photos. Okay. Okay, so do not repot when you get the plant home. That is the thumb rule. When do you repot? You will repot only if the roots are coming below, out of the pot. I will share a picture how they come out of the pot. Only then you have to repot. And even if you want to repot, you just go up by one size. Don't go in, you will lose the plant. Okay, so when you get a plant home, please do not repot. That's also because you have already brought it into a new environment. That's your home, away from their original environment that they were growing, and now you're again going to change it. It's going to be too much shock for them. First of all, let them settle down in your house. See if the roots are really overgrowing. Okay, then repot. And repotting, you should know the kind of soil. Let's talk about it later. And the size. Keep these in mind or else you will lose your plant. Coming to the next point, which is soil and water. Plants are growing living things, so they need food for their growth. So where do they get that? They get it either from the sunlight or from the soil. So soil is what they get all their nutrition, and the water, of course. So for different kind of plants, you have different kind of soil that is important. That is the kind of soil. You get ready soil as per the kind of plant, whether it's an indoor plant, outdoor plant, or succulents or orchids. So please make sure if you're repotting, get the right kind of soil. And to make the soil porous and breathable, you can mix it with perlite. You can keep 25% perlite and 25% is the soil. Okay, and in some cases you can even have added tree bark to increase the more porosity and to increase more breathability in your plant soil. Okay, when you're talking about soil, the other thing that immediately comes is the water. Okay, you can either lose the plant. Okay, when you're talking about soil, the next thing that comes is the water. Overwatering, underwatering. Yes, water is everything that a plant needs, and you'll say, what's the big deal about water? Yes, it's really a big deal. When do we water the plants? If you water them too much, they will die. If you water them less, still chances are they'll survive, but overwatering definitely will kill because the soil becomes so soggy. The roots just keep on being in the water and they just rot, and you cannot survive that kind of rot. The plant cannot survive. Okay, now underwatering very obvious. You will see that the leaves turn brown or they will dry out. Let me show you. But here chances are it is the lower leaf that is got brown, but you might see the tips of the leaves going brown. Like, I think I did not water this. I got a little busy with other thing. You can see this, and they become very crispy and dry, so that means you have not watered it well enough. See, it just comes off. Okay, so when do we water? Very simple technique I will show you. Just put your finger into the soil. Oh, okay. And maybe an inch or two. If there is soil on your finger, meaning it is still moist, you can feel it moist, do not water. If there's no soil coming on your fingers, water it. Simple, isn't it? And how do you water? There are different ways. You can just pour it and let water seep down, and whatever water collects, please make sure you throw it away. The other way you can do is put water in it and let this sit in the water for about 10 minutes. It will soak up whatever it needs, and then later on pick up the plant and throw away the water. That is bottom watering, which I like, because then the topsoil remains dry and you don't have these insects and flies coming on them. Okay, so water your plants well and have a good airy breathable soil. Okay, the next one. We're talking about plants. We're talking about we need to grow them well. Yes, we need fertilizers. And when it is living organism, it could be attacked by insects. So let's talk about fertilizers and insecticides and pesticides. Okay, now what about fertilizers? You have a lot of natural ways to have fertilizers from the waste of your kitchen. Like when you wash vegetables, that water, when you wash rice, when you wash pasta, or when you cook pasta, sorry, but without salt. The water should not have salt. Or you can even soak banana peels for about 48 hours, dilute that water and put in your plants. Or else you can pick up any natural biofertilizers from the plant stores. Okay, and these are very, very strong. There is a particular instruction how much you can put for indoor plants and which season how much you need to. Please follow that instruction, because these are highly concentrated, and if you're going to say, oh, let me put more fertilizer, it will grow, no, it will actually burn it because they are chemicals. Okay, be very sure you're putting it in the right proportion, in the right diluted way. Now, as I said, these are living organisms. They could be attacked by pests. So first and foremost thing is you check in the store. They're not already having any kind of pests on them. And once you get home, maybe once a week while you're watering, have a good look at the soil. Nothing is creeping over. There are no white spots or anything fuzzy over it. And if there are brown spots, yellow spots, it could be fungal infections. So you can make a spray at home with natural detergent, neem oil, mix them well, dilute it in a lot of water and spray on the plants. Or you can get a bio insecticide or fungicide from the same plant shop. You need to buy these things along with getting your plants, or else once it is attacked, what happens is it will immediately spread to the others also, and you will not have time to act. So get these along with your plant so that you don't losing them. And chances are, if you're getting new plants, when you already have plants at home, keep them away. The quarantine thing, quarantine them for a week or two. Look at them. Are they having any issues? Are they showing any signs? If you feel, oh, they are perfectly fine, then let them join the family of your existing plants. Okay, now coming to the final point. Okay, I got the plants. You can get new pots if you want to, these are called the cachet pots, where these are the original nursery pots. You can hide them, putting them in. You can use these baskets. These are all accessories. But what I'm talking now about the tools. By tools, I mean you have a watering can you might need to water it, which has the nice long neck so it can reach to places where, if you're going to pour water from up, chances are the leaves will just make it fall off. So you get the watering can with a long neck, so it will reach here and it will pour water like the one I have. Okay, and then you need to get a mister. Ideally, I do not mist my plants because I don't think it's of any use of increasing the humidity. But I use it when I have, I'm doing propagation. Maybe I just have to mist them. I use it for that. Or you can just let go buying a mister for now. Then the other thing that you need is when you have these yellow leaves or the old leaves and you want to cut them off, you get special scissors for that, but you can use home scissors. That is not the point. These are also living organisms. They can get infection, so you need to sanitize them. You can use rubbing alcohol, or better still, we now have these hand sanitizers. Sanitize the cutters before you put it on every plant. Suppose you move from this plant to the next plant, again sanitize it. You don't want any kind of infection going from one plant to the another. So now if you're going to take care of all these things carefully, and ideally it's about your home, it's about how the plant is interacting with you in your home, you need to learn this. So for that, start off with fewer plants, let them get adjusted, then get the other plants. And the other thing is, you have a choice. You want to get a small plant, you want to get a big plant, or you want to get a really big plant like I have the ZZ. The cost factor is what will be the deciding factor here. Start with small plants. Even if you lose them, it's not a problem. Once you're having confidence, you can take a bigger plant, and it'll be like a centerpiece in your house. So take it slow, enjoy the process, and keep in mind what are your likes and dislikes. So check your home and get a plant. Don't check the plant and get it home. It might not survive.